Hey, let me see that hammer. Break the table. All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. This meeting of the Texas State Technical College Board of Regents is called to order this Thursday, May 14th at 11:16 a.m. Jonathan, you want to lead us?
It'd be my pleasure. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, you've been good to us. Today, we gather here at Fort Bend campus with grateful hearts. Grateful for this campus, its benefactors, this community, our students, and the employers who will hire and invest in. But most of all, Lord, we are grateful to you, the source of every good and perfect gift. In the season of planning, grant us wisdom, discernment, and decisiveness. May we not be lured by vanity or short-term thinking, but instead allow us to make choices that are strategic, impactful, and enduring. Give us the freedom and courage to lead boldly, the creativity to innovate and imagine what is new, and the good judgment to preserve what is tried and true. For those among us, or those we love, who are facing illness, hardship, or uncertainty, we ask for your peace, comfort, healing hands, and protection over them. And for all who have traveled here today, we pray for safe journeys as they return home. We place this meeting, this institution, and this work in your hands. Amen.
Thank you, Jonathan. All right, next we want to have a determination of quorum. I'll call your name and request that you indicate your presence. Rob Missel, present. Dr. Kathy Stewart.
Present.
Dr. Tiffany Trema.
Present.
Ron Rohrbach.
Present.
Lizzie Delgarza Putin.
Present.
Eric Beckman is joining us virtually. Can you hear us all right, Eric?
Virtually here.
Got it? Our newest regent, Frank Denton, here, and welcome. And myself, Ron Whittup, we have a quorum. Well, first, I want to say to Provost Brian Bowman, what a great campus. And thanks for all that you and your team have done to welcome us this week, or today and yesterday. We did a campus tour yesterday and new equipment, new stuff. We have programs that are oversold, fantastic. We went through the ARC food pantry, which is a great service for the students here, and saw a lot of really neat stuff. Had a great community event last night with the two foundations that have really supported this campus, made it what it is today. Really appreciate everything you guys are doing, and appreciated your story about Hurricane Harvey. And you got here and you were head of the list and said, "Here, call these people and see if they're okay." And TSTC difference really shines through here, so really appreciate it. Thank you.
Come on.
We will. We will. All right, Regents, so you have the agenda in front of you. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
Thank you. Lizzie Root and Dr. Tremont seconded. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. Also, we'll consider the minutes of the February 26th board meetings. You have those minutes in your board materials. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Thank you, Kathy. Second?
Second.
Second. Rob, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. All right, we've reached the public comment section of our meeting. Procedures for public comments at TSTC board meetings are governed by the Texas statute and the bylaws of the Board of Regents of TSTC. These laws allow for comments from the public on any item contained on the publicly posted agenda before the item is considered by this governing body. This will be the only time during this meeting set aside for public comment. Section 551.042 of the Texas Open Meeting Act restricts the TSTC Board of Regents dialogue in response to public comments. Are there any public comments? No public comments, thank you. But we also have the opportunity to hear Chancellor's comments. Chancellor?
Mr. Chair, you may not believe this, but our discussion during the working session this morning was so robust that I have struck all but one item from my.
Write that down.
Applause is okay. I just want to point out one thing. We had a wonderful celebration last night, and we run the risk of taking for granted such a high standard because it keeps happening over and over and over again. But I want to call out and acknowledge the marvelous work done by Val Smith and her events team, because I don't think any of us can contend the fact that last night's as good as it gets. I heard one guest who said, I've been to weddings that weren't this good. And so I just wanted to commend them to you, and I know you join me in commending them. So that's all, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Chancellor. Next, we'll enter our committee section of the agenda. And first up, we have the Committee for Student Learning and Student Development. I now call on Regent Lizzie De La Garza-Putnam.
Thank you, Chairman. The Student Learning Working Committee has no action items at this time and no reports on this agenda this cycle. However, we did meet as part of our ad hoc committee work related to faculty engagement and Senate Bill 37. The ad hoc committee met 3 times and included discussions with some of TSCC's faculty. Special thanks to the faculty who spent time with the Regents sharing their perspective. I've asked Jonathan Hoekstra to summarize what the committee learned and the decision we've reached at this time.
Thank you. I'll be brief as well. Get to the short of it. At this time, we really don't believe it's appropriate for us to pursue a faculty representative group as envisioned under Senate Bill 37. And frankly, it's not a decision that came to us lightly. Thank you, board. We had that ad hoc committee group convene 3 times from last meeting until now, and we really went about the work of understanding the problem, what's the legislative intent, what are our alternatives, what's the risks associated with our different alternative choices, and then we validated that, and we did that directly with faculty. Our regents wanted a real perspective from the ground, and so we had some faculty share their hearts with us. And at the end of the day, we said, boy, this just isn't us. And frankly, we're in that age where academic tradition is really being challenged. And so once again, TSCC recognizing we're different and it's on purpose. And we have a lot of momentum. And so we'll continue our course in using really strong leadership, strong faculty engagement to create a voice for faculty, but really not pursue a heavy structured us-them type dynamic for something like that. So we have committed to keeping the board apprised of these issues that are considered under Senate Bill 37. We'll do that in our working committee group with the Student Learning Committee. But that's where we arrived at that. We'll continue to communicate with our faculty on this. We'll actually have a faculty-focused conversation that's an invitation to all faculty tomorrow, sharing the work we've done and the decision we've reached. So, thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Any questions from Regents? In addition to that discussion, we also met with Jonathan and the team to talk about the college's double-digit enrollment growth with several major strategic and operational priorities across operations. Some of these include the campus and program planning and prioritization discussions associated with funding created by the new endowment. More to come on that, but very exciting things. Creation of a faculty academy focused on new faculty transitioning from experienced technicians to instructors, and process improvements surrounding how we manage our faculty resource capacity. So very robust discussion and a lot of exciting things on the horizon. If, Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report, unless there are any questions from Regents.
Very good. Thank you, Lizzie. I now call on Rob Misso, Chair of the Fiscal Affairs Committee.
Cool. Thank you, Chairman Whittup. The Fiscal Affairs Committee met virtually on Wednesday, May 6th. We discussed the minute order and reports in front of you. The committee has 2 minute orders to consider and 6 reports in your materials for the board to hear. Chad Wooten will take it away for us.
All right, thank you. Pretty standard stuff this meeting, nothing too out of the ordinary, so should be pretty routine. But we do have 2 minute orders. The first is on page 3. It is to approve the second appropriation transfer of fiscal year 26. So this is, we do these definitely at the beginning of every fiscal year and then sometimes toward the end of a fiscal year to make sure we spend every single penny of our appropriations, because if we don't, I may not be sitting here next meeting. So this is a pretty routine thing. Our total appropriations that we can transfer total $145 million. And this transfer amounts to roughly $800,000. So it's a pretty minimal amount, but we want to get every penny spent. Any questions on that? The second minute order is to approve the merchant card services agreement with Heartland Payment Systems. We expect this contract to exceed $1 million, therefore it requires board approval. We've been using this group for many years, and as we talk about the growth, another thing that grows are the revenues and the fees associated with using credit cards. So anticipating this contract exceeding $1 million is why we're bringing it. We've also brought in all of our merchant services under this one agreement. We used to have different ones in the bookstore, for example, versus the cashier's office. So we're bringing all those together, and that's this minute order is that the result of that. So now on to the report section. The first report is the quarterly investment report on page 5. The quarter ending 2/28 of fiscal year 26, you'll see our cash compared to last year, our operating funds went up about $3 million, which is what we're planning for to save a little bit of money this fiscal year. So our cash is on track. And then toward the bottom, you'll see the bond proceeds. We started with $310 million, and we're down to $69 million. So Hutto is the last major project, and we'll keep spending those down. Page 6, we usually glance at the interest rates. There was a new Fed chair appointed this week. There had been talk about rate cuts. Now I'm seeing headlines about potential rate increases, which is pretty fascinating. But all that being said, our interest rate is doing well. We'll continue to watch the market as always, but a lot going on out there right now. So then on page 7, this is you'll see in the yellow column there on the far right, our forecast for our reserves. We'll talk about it again here in a minute. We are planning to build our reserves this fiscal year by about $3 million. And so far, we're definitely on track to do that. Page 8 is the pledge collateral report. We did not have a collateral bust, so we are in good shape there. And then page 9, 10, and 11, and 12 is a report we provide twice a year. It's not every meeting, but twice a year on the status of our debt. We do certify that we are in compliance with our debt management policy. On page 10, you will see for this fiscal year, our total debt service is $41 million. which should be a high point, meaning next year will be a little lower. But you can also see just over half of that is paid through state appropriations. On page 10, the very first bond there, the constitutional appropriation bond from 2016 was paid off. It was a 10-year note, and so we just paid that off in October. Then you'll see that on page 11, the total outstanding debt as of 2/28. We're again hit the high point in 2025, and so now we're continuing to pay down the debt. And as of right now, we don't have any immediate plans to issue any more debt. I'm sure we will soon enough, but for now, we are still in the planning phase. And then finally, on page 12, we've seen no change in our bond ratings. We expect to hear from Moody's sometime soon, but that hasn't happened yet, so we're in good shape there for now. Any questions so far on those reports? Yes.
How would you anticipate the endowment fund affecting our bond rating?
I think it will definitely have a positive impact. It's going to be a new wrinkle for these bond rating agencies to understand. The endowment won't live on our balance sheet, but the appropriation, which is the distribution, is constitutionally guaranteed revenue.
Which should be a positive effect on our bond rating.
Which is a AAA
Absolutely.
Yeah.
vehicle. Mhm.
Yeah, so the state of Texas is as good as you can get in terms of bond rating, and because we are now in Article 7, Section 21 of the Texas Constitution, that revenue is guaranteed, and that should definitely have an improvement. We had an initial conversation with Moody's about that, so they're aware of it, but they said they'll wait till they do their regular review to potentially make any changes.
How long does that process take?
It's really pretty quick. Once you just wait for the phone to ring and they call you and say, hey, you got 2 weeks, you get us all this information. We have a 2 or 3 hour meeting with them. They take it to the rating committee like the next day. So from start to finish, it's probably 2 weeks, and we'll know. It just depends on their timing. So
Thank
you. Page 13 is the operating budget performance report. We'll start at the bottom. So we are, as of 2/28, we are forecasting a sliver of a surplus of $1.2 million, basically on track with the budget. Of note, tuition was budgeted pretty aggressively, the tuition revenue, but the summer semester just started on Monday. And so the revenue is pretty well wrapped up for the year, and we are right on target with the budget. So that's a very good thing. You'll see again in the middle that -$3 million means we are saving $3 million out of this fiscal year's budget to add to our reserves. And then on the expenses, those are mostly on track. You'll remember we did last meeting increased the deferred maintenance budget by $1 million, so we're planning on that. And really, again, talking about the double-digit growth, in terms of the budget, is really monitoring headcount and payroll costs. That's our biggest and most important expense. And so we've developed a pretty robust process every month to watch those headcounts. But so far, everything looks good. The best page in here is page 14, the notes. That's feel free to read that. The fifth report is page 15, which is no report, no new leases. And then finally, the report of the contracts over $1 million. I will note at the top, you'll see those big CCAP contracts. We do expect several of those to come off this report pretty soon as those projects get formally closed out. And then on page 17, the one new contract. is a roof replacement at Hangar 11-1 in Waco. That's about $1.5 million of deferred maintenance right there, so. And with that, that concludes our report. Any questions I can answer?
Chad, I got one. When you start to get benefits from the endowment, your $32 million, whatever it is, not excluding the HEAF,
Right.
I mean, are you gonna borrow on some of that? Are you gonna, you're gonna spend some money? I mean, what's the process? I mean, are you just thinking on it right now?
Well, no, we're,
Making
that's
a wish list?
what we've been working on internally with a lot of interest is we're starting with the 3-year plan. So we're going to make the first 3 years of distributions. What do those look like? I don't anticipate that we'll issue debt immediately. There is some risk in the endowment since it's a new endowment. They put it in the market. If something happens and the bottom falls out of the market, for example, we may have a muted distribution in those first few years. So we don't want to lock it up into debt service and take too much risk. But yes, I think we'll definitely end up issuing some debt to leverage those revenues. Across the state, there's sort of different thresholds. Probably the maximum I've seen anybody issue debt against an appropriation is about 30%. So for example, if we had 30 million, I would say the max we would borrow against is 10 million of those revenues. That's the high end, the low end, 5–10%. And then we'll start looking at, do you do 20-year bonds? Do you do 5-year bonds? There's a lot of short-term potential there, and we're also exploring a commercial paper program, which all the other systems in Texas issue commercial paper for ultra short-term debt, and that can be another vehicle that we'll need given the sophistication of this cash management.
Thank you, appreciate it.
I'd like to make a note on, or a comment on note 1 in the budget. And so, you said we're gonna exceed the prior year by 10%. When you look at the 6 critical questions, number 4 is how will we succeed? And it says we will succeed by being compellingly different, best in class, and responsive to industry. And in industry, how you succeed is you put a product out there that people want to buy and people want to have. And this morning, the chancellor told us about we had 10 semesters in a row with double-digit enrollment growth.
Growth, not all double digit.
With growth.
Yes.
Growth, not all double,
Year-over-year
okay, I'm sorry,
growth,
not all
yeah.
double digit, but 10
Period
semesters
over period.
of growth, and other institutions have seen declining
Right.
enrollment in that same time. So we continue, because I think the future starts with TSTC. But I think we're hitting.
How clever.
I think the point of that is well, kudos to everybody in the room and in the system that says we're hitting one of those 6 critical questions. Number 4 is to me, it seems like we're putting a product out there that people want because we're seeing growth for the last 10 semesters, and congratulations to everybody for that. Just wanted to mention that. Thank you
very much.
I have a question. if
Yes.
I could. Being the new kid on the block, excuse me for
No, that's
asking some
fine.
of these questions. But back to your operating expenses on page 13.
Right.
Since this is dated February 28th, it's basically 6 months of a fiscal year, correct? So in a perfect world, would that 53.1% spent be 50%? Or are your expenses front-end loaded with TSTC?
In a perfect world, yes, that would be exactly 50%. We do see in the fall, on September 1st, we start the fall semester, so our payroll really ramps up.
So it is somewhat
It
front-end
is
loaded.
somewhat front-loaded, but not dramatically. So yes, there are, like in the fall, we see a lot of payroll costs, and then in late summer, we're going to see a ramp up again in payroll costs. Also, we do pay certain large contracts for software, for example. We pay a lot of those in the fall. So there's a little bit of front loading, but generally speaking, it's pretty calendar based.
We don't have a level run rate. We just don't. Another example on top of what he said are some of the projects that Cledia does and/or grants that come in, and the timing of the revenues and the expenses can be all over the map. And it sometimes can actually span an academic or a fiscal year. And so, so if we were one of those sure and steady, non-seasonal businesses that would be a perfect world, 50 would be the number. But my point is, don't let that alarm you. That's quite normal.
I'm not alarmed at all.
Okay, good. Okay.
The last I've got a million questions for
Okay.
you that I'll defer to a later date. But the last one today is the strategic pool to be allocated 8.2 million is zero
Right.
for 26. What is that and what's going to happen to that 8?
So the majority of it is our merit pool for salary increases to existing employees. So we budget a pool every year. This year, I think it was around 6.6 million. We award most of that in the fall. And so from a budget standpoint, we take that 8.2 and sprinkle it out across all of these divisions depending on the salary increases. So the vast majority of that pool gets allocated every year, again, primarily for salary increases and or special projects.
I'll defer the rest of my questions.
Can I ask
But
a
I
question?
do have a lot.
Sure.
I should have asked this on our call, but I just noticed this. So our marketing budget, do you remember, what did we spend on marketing in 2025?
The budget for the entire division was pretty similar. But I can tell you that we did increase our advertising budget in 2026, most of which was related to the endowment campaign. We did an awareness campaign. I think we just plugged in an extra $1 million for that. And we did bump up the very targeted advertising toward potential students that none of us ever see because it's on Snapchat or something, I don't know.
I can say, well, actually, I believe it or not, I'm not on Snapchat.
Okay.
But I see, I'm not sure even where Snapchat is or what it is, but I do see a ton of TV commercials and advertisements and YouTube, and I love it. And I'm getting a lot of comments from colleagues and friends and going, hey, TSTC, they're everywhere. And I think so that advertising budget is making a difference. I didn't know if that was going to tail off after we got our,
Yeah, and that's
I hope not. I hope it doesn't tail off. I think it'll drive success.
Yeah, that's, we noticed, we've heard those comments everywhere. We did that for a very particular reason, but
Yes.
saw a lot of benefit from it. And so we'll have, as we deliberate and make the FY27 budget,
I think it makes a difference.
yeah, that'll be definitely one of the topics on the agenda.
Awesome. Very cool.
I can answer any more questions. I'll stay
He's
here.
got it.
Yes,
Great.
Chad's got it. Yeah, he's got it. Yes, yes.
All right, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Chad. And Chairman, that completes our report.
Fantastic, thank you. All right, I'll now call on Curtis Cleveland, a member of the Facilities Committee. He's doing this in place of Mr. Beckman, who's remote, and sometimes we have technology issues, so we want to be here face to face. So, Mr. Cleveland.
So, Mr. Chairman, the Facilities Committee met virtually Monday. You've given us 10 minutes on the agenda. We have 3 speakers.
By my math, that's about 6 minutes each.
It's their turn to shine.
We're going to get after it. The first presenter is going to be Jay Wesson.
Board, good morning.
Before you get started,
Okay.
so go ahead and sit down. So Jay has been with us a really long time and has deep experience in construction management and so forth. Y'all remember Ray Freed, you older Regents who've been around a long time. Well, Jay is a Ray Freed clone. Okay. So, in fact, I'll bet they can wear the same clothes. So, yeah, so he's not accustomed to making public addresses, but what he is accustomed to is being highly professional and managing construction projects to a really good level. So we welcome him to the board table to share with you this kind of info. So
Thank you so much, Chancellor. And again, good morning. I think your report for our departments start on page 24, and it's about minute orders, and the construction department doesn't have any minute orders for this session. Following that is the major project report. It's a two-page report. It's kind of a high-level overview of our major construction projects with columns along the top, denoting project name, location, funding sources, cost allocations, approvals. The two columns on the far right are completion percentages for construction and funding. I would point out the financial figures in the fund source and cost allocation columns that are in red. That indicates funding changes from the previous report that you received. And then the ones that are red and in parentheses indicate a reduction in funds needed to complete the project. The main reason there's numerous changes on this report from the previous report was in early March, the construction department and the finance group met and discussed and determined that due to construction wrapping up on several of these major projects, that there would be some remaining funding and it could be released and reallocated to finance some future projects. So in other words, those red numbers in parentheses in those two columns are savings from the current projects. The first project on the list is the North Interceptor project, and I think most of you know that's a collaboration between the City of Belmead, the City of Lakeview, Lacey Lakeview, and TSTC. That project, for our part, for TSTC's part, will come in the middle of some of theirs, and that hasn't even begun yet. So that's probably at least 2 to 3 years out for our portion of that. Following that, there's 7 projects that are all our TSTC capital construction initiatives over the past few years, totaling approximately $281.5 million in funding. Overall, of the CCAP projects, 6 are substantially complete, and 5 of them are being used for instruction currently. The one that's not, we toured yesterday, the BCT and the ELC program here at Fort Bend, and they plan to start instruction in the fall. The pages following the major project report is a CCAP monthly update for all the projects. None of these have changed significantly over the past few months except the Hutto project. Of course, it continues to move forward, and it's now approximately about 36% complete. The report is from March, so we are moving forward, and it is still on schedule to open in the spring of 2027 for instruction. And if there's any questions, I'd be glad to take them. Otherwise, that concludes my report.
Jay, not so fast. I got one.
Okay, no.
Have you guys ever thought, or I don't know whether there's an advantage, obviously TSTC is going to have to build some new buildings, and some new facilities. And years ago, in school districts or school corporations, wherever you are, they would contract with a engineering firm to design that building. And then 5 or 6 years down the road, they would need another school and they would contract with somebody to design that building. And it's expensive to do that for the architect.
Yes, sir.
Do we have any plans to say, look, if we're going to do a diesel mechanic building, this is pretty much what it's going to look like, and we may change the foundation because the site's different, but the building itself is the same. And if you wanted to customize the elevation of it, you can. But everything past the front door is fairly similar. It saves quite a bit of money. Have you ever thought about doing that at all?
We are certainly working toward that in some ways. Of course, you know, like you said, the site's going to be different.
Yeah.
The location's going to be different.
Yeah.
The aesthetics of the outside of the building, what we want it to appear to be, is going to be different. But yes, we are trying to standardize, and we did even as we started these projects, we tried to standardize our designs as much as possible to, we want to be individual buildings, but we want them to be alike, especially if we're teaching the same thing there. Yes.
Do you have to, when you have a new building, by law, do you have to, bid it out to a certain number and then get the best
We
bid?
definitely have to follow state procurement laws. Yes, sir. And then, of course, there's several methods of construction. I know some of y'all know all those, but, and currently for these CCAP projects, we use what we call the construction manager at risk method.
Thank you.
And,
But I might offer too, that was really a timely question because until this latest round of CCAP projects from 6 years ago, TSTC was a fractured system made up of 4 colleges, and construction was all handled on a strictly local level. And some campuses would go a decade without a construction project. So the idea of being that sophisticated never entered anybody's mind because there was just no. I'm sorry. Until 5 years ago. That's right. Yeah. So.
Thank you.
If I might ask a question too, and along the same lines you're talking about, the costs you're talking about are soft costs. And it would be helpful to me when you report these, whether it be a projected cost or a completed project, if you could identify the soft cost associated with that, break it out. As I understand it so far, that soft cost is not included in construction costs, but is included in the total cost of the project, which also includes the build out or the equipment that goes in that building.
Correct.
So to me, it would be extremely helpful to see the soft cost broken out on these projects, because architectural design and engineering, soil testing and the like can be extremely expensive. So I think it's going to be large enough to break it out where we can identify it. That would be really helpful for me. The other thing that I would request is that on any project we do, calculate a cost per foot on the building, so we can compare apples to apples rather than just total project cost.
You can be certain that it will always be more.
Okay. Well, I know that. I just like to know how much more.
Construction costs over
Yeah,
the past
I
10
get it.
years of, holy cow.
But I guess if we're building a project in North Campus or we're building one in Harlingen, I'd at least like to know the per foot cost difference, because it might affect future expansion.
We'll be glad to do all that. You're the first Regent to ever ask us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
we can certainly do that. We do keep those.
I'm
figures.
sure you do internally, but I'd like for it to be a part of our report.
Thank you.
Anything
Thank you,
else?
Jack.
Thank y'all so much.
We have 3 minute orders to present. The first one will be presented by Roland Gilmore.
Morning, everybody. This particular report is in its infancy. It was reported to you last board with all of the necessary requirements to be reported to the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. There's what is called a Board of Regents certification form. This just tells the co-board that we have presented the projects, the reportable projects that we have to report to the co-board, to the Board of Regents, and they're aware of all the specifics associated with that. So last quarter, all of those BORs were submitted to the coordinating board, so we're in compliance. This quarter, we have none. All of the projects that Mr. Wesson had previously presented, the CCAP projects, were required reportings to the co-board. That concludes this report. Any questions?
Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Kevin Simeon is now going to be our third presenter.
So Frank, for your benefit, one of the things that we do on kind of an annual rhythm is we have various parts of the organization that we focus a spotlight on, typically annually. For example, marketing and the foundation always occur in November. Kevin is about to give you a campus services report. This would be one of those annual highlights.
All right, Regent, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I said, thank you.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. We have 2-minute orders. I want to start off with the first one. It is to approve the increase in the housing cleaning fee. Working with the team, it's been over 6 years, about 6 years since the last time we have requested an increase. And what we've seen throughout the state is obviously the cost to clean and make ready rooms for new students has gone up dramatically. So this increase will help to support the cost and to pay those fees. Any questions or concerns?
Another clarification for you, Frank. By law, any fee that we charge to a student has to be approved by the board. So whenever something that a student will pay changes, you'll see it. And this is an example.
This fee we're talking about, is that charged upon, as a part of the tuition initially?
Not the tuition, but one of their,
One of the
yes, service fees,
expenses
yes,
of
sir.
it. And how many times do your facilities turn over per year?
It just depends on the students, how long they stay in a residence. So you could have a student that,
Stay there 2 years.
or they go in at the beginning of a semester and might leave before the semester is over, depending on if they completed the course, or, you know, some students do drop out.
And you contract out these cleaning services, or you do it
It's a
in-house?
combination. So in a couple of our campuses, we have external services that we utilize. On the main campuses, Waco, we do have internal, and we're looking to outsource that. So what we've been doing in the past is having our custodial staff work to help out with those, and that creates a lot of overtime. So we're looking at just trying to see where we can balance those costs.
Excuse my ignorance. How many campuses do you have student housing?
4.
4.
Yes, sir.
And those are
Waco, Harlingen, Sweetwater, and Marshall.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. All right, the next minute order is for the renewal of a lease with the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. We've been in this lease with the Texas Park and Wildlife for probably 20+ years. What has happened over time, we used to just do a 2-year lease with them. We want to kind of extend this to 5 years so it doesn't have to come up to the board as often. We have a great relationship with them in Brownwood. Their presence on the campus really helps to support some of the safety and security that we like to see in the area. So this minute order is just to approve that 5-year lease agreement. Questions? Okay. All right, so first, let's take a look at this. This is your contact report. This contact report is a report that comes out in the spring. This is from our PD, and it's also called a racial profiling report when you guys read through it. So it's pretty straightforward. If you guys read it and have questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to Howard, our chief of police there. No, we can help answer those questions, but team has done a great job, and this is one report you have for the spring. In the fall, we also have the Clary report that you will also receive. Now, this is our campus services report. Over the last few years, we've had the pleasure to really kind of showcase some of the things that you do not see from our departments, right? Most of our departments are behind the scenes, getting things done. But what I want to just throw out first before I go into the report is how important it is that we not only support the students, the staff, but we also get a lot of support from the other divisions within our leadership teams. And so I just want to reiterate that it's so important that for us to also be successful, we need the support of our finance and HR and IT partners as well. So if we take a quick look, campus services is built up over quite a few departments, and I'll go through all this, but it's so important to see how where we've come from. We've seen a lot of changes over the last 3 to 4 years And again, this is our opportunity to kind of showcase that. One thing we really kind of tout on is just the progress. Solve problems, eliminate them, and keep moving forward. I will ask my team to stand up real quick, and you can see them. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. So we have about 225 associates around the state that make up the Campus Services Division, and that's growing. The more square footage we get, the more students that enroll in our campuses, you'll see that we have to have that customer support to maintain and support those students. So we'll start with the airport. A lot of things have happened over the last year, and you've heard this one before, and that's one of the biggest projects we have right now is the 11-1 roof replacement project. I do understand, I got an update yesterday that they have started tearing down and starting to repair some of the roof decking. So they're moving forward with that project. Hopefully by next year, this time, I will let you guys know that project has been completed. But we are moving forward. That roof is the biggest roof we have on any building around the state, but specifically at the airport. And L3 Harris utilizes or leases out that space from us. Some of the other things you will just kind of see, I won't go through all of them, but one of the big things that I'll probably talk about sometime next year is we have a 1.25, almost $1.5 million project on the books, and we're working with TxDOT and the FAA, is to upgrade the lighting and the signage around the airport. So that's important for us because we don't have to knock on too many doors. We're able to get the support from the federal government as well as the state to continue to upgrade the airport and keep it safe for people that fly into and for our students, obviously, that fly at the airport. One more thing I just want to let you guys know, we are working with our instructional partners. Our aviation maintenance program is growing leaps and bounds. So you'll probably hear some things in the near future that we are working to create more space for them to continue to grow that program. So if you guys have heard, obviously pilots are a huge need, but maintenance of aircraft is a bigger need. And there's just not enough maintenance or mechanics to do that. So we're working with Jonathan and his team to find that additional space for that program.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, please.
So I think I asked this last time we had this meeting, but air traffic control.
Yes.
I know at one point in time we supported that. I've been a victim of airports and planes being canceled because there wasn't enough air traffic control.
Yeah.
Is there any way for us to get back into training?
You know,
That's
that's,
Yes and no. Let me take that
Yeah,
one,
Yes.
unless Jonathan wants to. We had an air traffic control program that was as good as it gets.
Yeah.
And the way the FAA rules used to work is our graduates would go straight to the front of the line and take the exam to become an air traffic controller, or be required to only do an abbreviated part at the academy up in Oklahoma. So coming to TSTC meant you were going to be a better air traffic controller, and your pathway between total rookie and being a professional was very concise. Okay. All of our instructors were former academy instructors or testers or that kind of stuff. Then the FAA changed the rules. And most of the higher ed that was teaching air traffic control, therefore, sunsetted their programs. And here's how the rules went. Doesn't matter what you've done in terms of studying air traffic control in college, you have to start at the beginning of the process when you get to Oklahoma. And so it offered no advantage whatsoever to people to do that. The second thing that was already just a bit problematic is that air traffic controllers work for the federal government.
Oh, yeah.
So they're employees of Washington, D.C., not Texas. So although they made a ton of money, they get sent wherever the FAA tells them to go, and often they wouldn't get captured in our funding formula.
Makes sense.
So those are two things that, so even if they change those
The
rules,
second one.
we'd have to measure very carefully, are we,
Are we getting?
yeah,
advantage
are
in
we
the
getting
jobs?
better?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thank you.
All right, the next one, and you guys know this, in November, we'll do a bigger or deeper dive on facilities, but I love to just share data, right? And if you look at this first snippet about our facility or the amount of space we have, 4.2 million square feet of space, that's the approximate size of Disneyland in California. So when we look at all the buildings that we have, 250 plus buildings, that's a lot of space that we have to maintain around the state. And the team does a
It's much funner than Disneyland.
yeah, no, of course, of course. Without the rides, right?
Yeah.
Yes. And some of the other notes there, you could see 2,700 acres of land, 31 miles of roadways on our campuses, and then the parking lots, 7.2 million square feet of parking lot space. So again, part of that is maintaining and keeping those things up, as well as the roadways, and that's all part of our deferred maintenance that we utilize. So far for fiscal year 26, we've allocated 76% of that deferred maintenance budget. So we're right on track to finish the year out and spend all the money that we've received. So we continue to keep chipping away at the deferred maintenance. You also see, as you see some of these pictures of our employees, they mean so much to what we do, so we wanted to always spotlight them, so you guys will see those. So back in September of 2025, we introduced this food waste program called Winnow. We don't always get an opportunity to control costs when it comes to food service, but you can control waste. So this is what this slide or this sheet is actually representing. Thank you. And so you'll see, since that time, we've reduced our food waste. 760 pounds of waste was reduced by using this system. And that equates to about 862 meals that would be recovered. So being smarter, minimizing the waste that's out there, and utilizing the tools to our advantage really, really helps out and supports our initiatives to kind of control costs and manage that waste that's out there. So big kudos to our food service team. This one in relation to our campus store. Now, you guys see it. If you go in our stores, we appreciate you guys are spending money. But one thing we really tried to do, and we started in Waco, big kudos to Elvira and her team. We have been reducing the toolkits for our students by huge numbers, as you can kind of see from some of the percentages. So one example I was given for the diesel original toolkit was $3,400. It was reduced to $1,600, and that's about a $1,700 savings. So what we decided to do is, like we should always do with service agreements, is put it back up for bid. And we started to identify vendors that could provide the same equipment or even better equipment at a lower cost. So we've seen a huge impact in Waco, and the team is rolling that out around the whole state. So all our students should see major impacts from that. So big kudos to them for really pushing the envelope on trying to reduce those costs and making coming to TSDC very manageable for the students as well. So that's been a huge impact for us. And the two bottom pictures are the team right across the hall. So if you see them, they're right here in Fort Bend. So this box you guys have in front of you, if you look at the next page, design and production, they created this for you, not the box, but it's the things in the box, yes. And yes, and so we take so much pride in trying to be creative and thinking outside the box. So if you look at the bottom of your slide here, you will see where we started to reduce spending money with external vendors and bringing that in-house. That saved us dramatically, or put the money back into our system. So when we receive those dollars, we put it back into equipment, we put it back into making things better, improving the quality of the products that we put out. So again, big kudos to the team. The big one that I think some of our folks realize they can take advantage of is when it's in-house, when you have an emergency or a need to have something done, they can reach out directly to that team, and we can make sure that we get it to them as quickly as possible. So, and the quality is a whole lot better than a foreign company or a company that just doesn't provide the right product for you. So the team is doing a great job. And again, this was a department that 4 or 5 years ago we were thinking about shutting it down, and they're light years ahead of that. So, and we're trying to expand it even more. So big kudos to them. You'll hear a lot about this, and I've talked a lot about some of our safety and risk as well as security. We'll talk more about that on the next slide. But our team has done a tremendous job of. Jason kind of alluded to some of those things like inspections. How do we stay on top of those? How do we not only identify it, but resolve it? So if you see here, by installing evacuation signs and weather signs, having fire drills, monthly inspections, 24,000 completed. The team does so much. I can remember in the past where we had AEDs, if you look at some of the safety equipment, that were out of date, and now those are up to date and managed well. Narcan, we didn't have any of those things on our campuses, and they give that away. So now those are in the boxes so that if anything happens, we have it at our ready. So the team has done a tremendous job to provide those tools and continue to manage that at an extremely high level. One big kudo to Guillermo and his team, and this is along the lines of risk and insurance. They have done a great job of consolidating so many policies that we've had. So in the past, we had a policy with Gallagher or another company. Now we have them kind of umbrella under one that saves us money, but also gives us point-to-point contact with individuals when we need to have response to situations that we may be involved in. So again, they've done a great job of streamlining those processes and make it a lot easier for our team to be successful. I think I've talked a little bit about this, but for Frank's knowledge, 2 or 3 years ago, our system for fleet was super manual. You did have a reservation system, but you had a binder, you had to track your receipts, you had to have an individual physically hand you a key to a vehicle. Now with our new technology, we have key boxes, so you can go any time of the day or night, pick up your reservation, and return it without somebody physically being there. We've also introduced our geotab system, which we have on all our fleet vehicles, and that tracks those so we can start to make smart decisions on how our vehicles are being utilized. And we could track to see if somebody is going too fast, if we needed to, or the big one is this: if somebody is in an accident, that geotab system will replay that incident and tell us if somebody was going too fast, or have all that information, right? So we have that at our fingertips. And let me just hit you on this next one. This is an initiative that and Mike really introduced. I know Mike can talk a lot about it. It was probably been a pet peeve for the last couple of years, and we're getting close to resolving that. So outside of our fleet, we did not have really good accountability of all the other moving assets. We call them non-fleet rolling stock. So this could be a bucket truck that a line worker would utilize. This could be a golf cart. We did not know. Guillermo and his team, and the help of the Chancellor's office, we kicked out a bunch of emails, said we need your information of all the assets you have. And as we got them, I kind of thought about this and I told Guillermo, he didn't like it too much, but I said, Guillermo, we need to put our hands on every single asset that's out there. We need to verify this. It's cool to get it on a piece of paper, but let's see about it. So we put a team together and they did this. And as you can see the number, the initial number was 423. We identified 610, right? And so now we have that information. It'll be going in our system. We'll be able to manage and track those assets a lot easier. One thing we see is if you have a program, say for example in Fort Bend, they have a vehicle. They're not using it anymore. Maybe they need it in Harlingen. those vehicles would just move around and nobody really knew it, right? So you might think it's one place and it's somewhere else. So now we're tracking those things and we have accountability for it. So again, a lot of heavy work with that, but I think we're in a great place. Mike, you agree?
I agree. We are way better than we were before, yes.
All
I
right,
agree.
Mike is happy.
Yeah.
We're- So the team did an awesome job there.
Kevin, do we have any airplanes?
We do have
Boy, do
airplanes,
we.
yes, sir. 16, I think, or our airport plane fleet, yeah.
I know we teach
No, we,
airplanes.
yeah, we own airplanes, yes,
Do
sir.
we use some airplanes to travel?
Oh, the travel, no,
So
not officially,
they wouldn't be in our fleet.
no.
No, this was primarily rolling stock, but not flying stock.
It rolls something
It rolls
around,
short, hopefully.
but not today, yes.
If it flies on purpose, it's not in this number.
All right, we'll look at our police department. Howard's been here a little over a year, right, Howard? Yeah. So you guys know when the last time we were in Marshall, we were opening up the department then. Howard has a lieutenant there now and an officer, and we're looking to add a few more folks there. But we've seen the staffing around the state, especially in Waco, reach, I want to say all-time numbers. I think, Howard, you're pretty squared away, right? All right, awesome. So big kudos to him and the team, and we continue to look at that. One other location that you might hear about in the near future is probably going to be Fort Bend. Obviously, the size of the campus, the number of students here in Fort Bend, we're going to take a deep dive into that. And so next year, this time, we might be talking about Fort Bend and the police department. We do have security on site, but Howard tells me we need to have the police here, right? So we support that. You know, I talked about this in the past, but we've ramped up our physical security. Brevo, our access control system. JBC is currently on Brevo, and all the new buildings that we have, we're working hard to start to add more buildings to that so we can support the use of access control and can just control that around the state. That is a monumental effort when we talk about 250 buildings.
Brevo? I don't know.
Access control system, where, so you
Card
have card system, yes, sir. Or we have an app that we utilize. Also with our surveillance system, which is called Milestone, we continue to deploy that out even more. So I think when we first started this, we were about 700 cameras. We're closer to 1,000 cameras now around the state. So that gives us eyes in the sky to keep track of everything around the campus. So we're fortunate there. Another kudo for Howard and the team, they partnered with TEEX to have trainings on our campuses. So you guys probably hear or will hear more about that as they continue to bring them onto campus to support education, safety, and other things around the state. All right, we talk a little bit about housing. So in fiscal year 26, we had 1,249 student applications. So I asked Patty this morning, I wanted to verify. We have about 949 units. That 1,249 exceeded our capabilities. So outside of students not qualifying to be housed in our dorms or apartments, when that happens, we tend to push them to Village Oaks, which is in Waco, and they take up the remainder of those students. But this is really a great problem for us to have. That clearly goes back to that enrollment. We can see those numbers. So when you see our occupancy at 90% and higher, specifically in Waco and Marshall, we're knocking the socks off of utilizing the space that we have. So again, that goes back to that kind of ask about increasing those fees so that we can continue to maintain those dorm rooms at a high quality.
Kevin,
Yes,
let me, since you're talking about the fee in the dorm room.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate all the information you gave me at the
Yes, sir.
committee meeting. I am super sensitive about increasing fees.
Of course.
And anytime, even that it's a small one, a
Yes.
50% increase catches my attention.
Of course.
So I appreciate your telling me it
Yeah.
hadn't been adjusted for 6 years.
Yes, sir.
My next question is self-evident, probably, I have to ask it.
Yes.
is that fee clearly identified in the enrollment process and only applies to those who've been qualified for student housing?
Yes.
Okay. But an increase, you really, it's not a $25 increase. It's a $25 times 1,000 people turned over 2 or 3 times.
Right.
So it gets into big numbers. And
So,
that's the
so
reason it's-
if I would, Patty, would you just give us the example about Marshall? Stand up if you would. Yeah.
I'll give you an example. So currently, for instance, the Marshall campus, which is a pure apartment style living. Currently, the company that comes in to clean that space, those spaces are mostly 4-bedroom apartments and few 2-bedroom apartments. If we're just cleaning your bedroom, you moved out, that's $75 to clean your bedroom as the bill is. If we have to clean the entire apartment, it's $400. So if there's 4 people living in it, we're only charging out of their deposit $50 of that cleaning fee to cover the cleaning of that apartment. So in a 4-bedroom apartment, I'm losing $200 per apartment, or $25, just 1 bedroom per student, to cover that
I get
cost.
it, I understand.
And it comes from the students make a deposit, and in their lease, it says that your cleaning fee comes from your deposit. It's not gonna be something we extra put on you unless you've done throughout, like, if we have to go in and do
Maybe
a
work
lot of
through.
cleaning, stripping floors, taking out things from an apartment, abandoned property, that would be an excess cleaning charge.
All right, thank you, Patty.
Yeah, and I don't mean to beat a dead
No, you're
horse.
fine.
Just I'm super sensitive about increasing fees, especially 50%.
Yes, sir.
And I'll say this, rates have gone up a lot. I mean, over the last 6
Yeah.
years, it's
It's
unbelievable.
justified. I'm
So
not saying
I-
it's not justified.
Yeah,
And our housing rates beat any
yeah.
outside, anybody around
It's-
our campuses. We still continue to keep our rates very competitive, really below anybody else's.
But I do recommend we make sure we don't lose money in the process.
Well, that's part of it,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So make more money than you spend.
You try.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much.
And before I quit talking, and I promise I'm gonna quit talking,
That's good.
I'm gonna tell you,
Yes, sir.
of all the campuses I've visited, they're nothing but first class.
Thank
So if facilities is responsible for that, I have always been proud every time I walked into a
Thank you.
facility.
Yes,
That's
that's our goal.
On any campus.
Yes, sir, that's our
He's a
goal.
professional.
So good job.
Thank you. This next slide on student engagement, you guys probably remember after COVID, we went just cold turkey with any activities around the campuses. Since that time, Patty and her team have done a tremendous job of getting students active and into activities. So you'll see some of just the many things that we have available for our students. Fitness centers, again, on those campuses that have housing. We talked about the one in Marshall where we're working on a fitness pad area for them. They currently don't have anything. So we are really trying to push the envelope to make sure that students get to participate and see some student life activities. You see our Texan Day that we do across the state. And this week was Welcome Week for a lot of our students. So we had food trucks out and activities that they could take advantage of. One thing Patty did share down here, we went from 8 groups, student organizations, to 24 in fiscal year 26. So you see a lot more participation around the state, and that's super important for our students.
Yeah, let me add
Yeah,
on
please.
that. A critical part of that growth are faculty and or staff who volunteer to be sponsors and, interact with those groups and kind of help them out. And so I just want to put a kudo out to those who volunteer to do that sort of stuff. That's really critical.
And so the last one, you said it, Regent Denton, we do some good things. We do some great things. But we do have an opportunity. One of the big things that we want our students, our staff, we want them to feel comfortable as they go around the many campuses that we have. So you'll hear more about this in the future, and this is a ID initiative. We all have badges, and you have a name badge, but as you see with the chancellor, you can see mine. We are pushing, and we will have initiative for ID badges for all our employees. We're starting there. We hope to have that completed end of June, but the expectation is that our employees will wear that. I used the example when I was talking to them that if you are from Waco and you go to Harlingen, wouldn't it feel good to see all your fellow employees and you know who they are, right? You do go to a campus and somebody will say, can I help you? But when you're wearing your badge, it's obvious. The other big thing is, as we take that to the students next, we work with contractors now, but we want to have a more robust system as well as visitors that come to our campus. This is all in efforts to keep everybody as safe and as aware as possible. So again, you'll hear more about this. Hopefully when we talk next year this time, it'll be 100% participation across the board. So thank you guys. Last thing, and is at the very bottom of that slide, when we had our winter weather event this year, and this is, again, kudos to our team around the state, especially on the north side of the state. We had 85 employees kind of braved the elements to make sure they were getting out to those campuses that were impacted, make sure they were putting salt down and de-icing chemicals down so we could minimize any slip and falls around the campus, providing meals for students that were impacted, and just keeping the areas clean. So we did recognize all those employees, but I just want to let you guys know, when it comes to supporting the campuses, our employees will go above and beyond. So thank you so much. And from our campus services team, we appreciate all the support we get from the board, as well as all our peers and members. Thank you, guys. That's my report.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.
All right.
Hey, Kevin, just want to say, I think I speak for the whole board about the gift.
Yes,
That's very
Yes,
nice.
it's beautiful.
Yes,
So
yes.
thank you. I
Yes, of
appreciate
course.
that, your whole team for that.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, that concludes our report. Thank you, sir. All right, I'll now call on Dr. Kathy Stewart, Chair of the General Administration Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the General Administration Work Group, I met virtually this past Monday, May the 11th. We also do not have any materials to present to the board this quarter, no minute orders, but I will give you just a quick update on all the divisions that were present. So the government relations team, the legislature's not working, but our government relations team is. They're getting ready for that next legislative session. They're continuously educating members and staffers about TSTC, and they're especially focusing on the endowment, making sure that there's no misunderstandings, that, yes, we do still need money, and thank you very much for what you gave us, but please give us more. And really the education piece of that wasn't the be-all, end-all. That's not going to solve all our problems. They are also hosting various campus visits and events to folks from Austin, just making sure that they are engaging them and really keeping them touch base. I mean, they're not on vacation until the next legislative session. They're working extra hard.
I'll offer an example of that.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, the GR team hosted staff members from the governor's office and from the Senate Finance Committee, staffers from all of those at the Waco campus for a tour. And the reaction we get typically in something like that is, I had no idea you guys were like that. Wow. And so that's the sort of work that Regent Stewart is talking about there.
Yeah. Really keeping in touch and educating and making our presence known all the time. They're always getting ready for the next step. The External Relations Division, they have 4 pillars of engagement. So they work on hiring and employability partnerships, training and pipeline partnerships, funding and philanthropic partnerships, and advocacy partnerships. That's a lot of words. But a few highlights from the external relations. So the college currently has a 93% placement rate of graduates into great paying jobs, with an average first year wage of $56,740. That's a pretty nice beginning job. That's pretty good. Between the dual credit, accelerated training, and professional academies, they've provided training to an additional 4,780 Texans so far this year. I mean, that's just extra things they do. The foundation is continuing to raise funds, and we met with the foundation yesterday, so we heard the awesome work that they're doing. So they are also working with an outside firm now, looking forward to a capital campaign. So there's more news to come in the future for that. Human resources, they are actively working very hard to keep all our positions filled and at a very robust level. They have moved into the next phase. I think we've always probably done it, but now culture fit is actually more important than the technical skill piece. So you can have the best skills in the world, but if you're not a good person, or if you just don't fit our culture, we're not going to hire you. We'd rather move on and do other things. So they are really focusing in on choosing the right people for the roles. And so they have streamlined what they do, and they're working on their organizational health just by attracting the right people and picking the right people for those jobs. Information technology, Dale's group, I think they're like the backbone to everybody now, because everything is AI and technology, and really modernizing our structure and putting together a really strong plan that keeps us ahead. So we're not 20 years behind and go, oh my gosh, we have to replace all the computers this year. Now there's a plan for, let's replace the computers, and there's a plan for when they need to get replaced the next time, so that nobody gets left behind in the process. They've also moved they've centralized that piece, so that you don't have to wait for your individual little department and Marshall to think about, oh, we maybe should ask to replace our computers this year. No, it's all been pulled under one umbrella, so that the whole organization stays current and has what they need to do their job, and it's being managed well with the group. So, we have over 12,000 students and 2,000 employees, and they all need a device, and they need their devices to work. So IT is really working on making that. So, and we're actually doing a pilot program this summer with some students with an AI platform. And I can't tell you any more about that, other than it's a little project we're working on, and they'll move forward from there. And you've heard multiple times, and I'll just say it again, that our summer enrollment is up 10%, from the get-go compared to last year. Our fall enrollment, nobody wants to say the 10%, they're saying maybe 9%. But we're going to have increased enrollment for the fall as well. We have not raised our tuition, because legislatively we were not allowed to do that. But even without raising our tuition revenue went up 10.5% in the last year. So maybe they're picking the higher price things, I don't know. Much of our growth is due to our marketing strategy, which was mentioned earlier. And they're focusing on prosperity, purpose, and relevance. That's what the media is really focusing in on, is you want to come to TSTC because you will get a high-paying job. You're going to have a job that matters. You have a purpose. I was watching an Astros ball game. I think my husband's decided we're not watching anymore this year, but we were watching an Astros ball game over the weekend, and I kind of half watched the game and do other things, and suddenly I looked up and there was TSTC, and it was a commercial, and I'm like, whoa, looky there, there we are. It's awesome. And when that happens, you're just like, oh wow, that's just amazing. We're out there and we're being seen. Our social media engagement has increased over 700%, which just shows that's where the students are getting their information. That's where that's where they're going.
Whatever that is.
It's Snapchat or X or
I'm not going there, but they are.
They are going there. So that's definitely something that we have to keep up with, because that's where they're getting their information. So all told, all the areas under general administration are continuing to mature their operations. They're building meaningful relationships, and they're showing up with passion. I thoroughly enjoy our committee meetings, because it's just chock full of information every single time. So with that, that concludes our report. If there's any questions? Frank, do you have a question?
He's got to have one. Come on, Frank.
I'll see you after the meeting. I'm trying to restrain myself. Quit picking on me.
You're doing good. That concludes our report.
You got him at Snapchat, so. Well, thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that. So this concludes our committee section of the agenda. And so the open meeting of the TSCC Board of Regents on Thursday, May 14, 2026, after proper posting and for the specific purposes provided in the Texas Open Meeting Act, will, including those in subchapter D, will recess and the closed meeting will begin shortly. Regents, what we're going to do is move upstairs, I believe, to where we were this morning for that closed meeting. And then, and I'll say this, a little precursor that we talked about before I actually officially adjourned this open meeting is we looked at the timing of the meetings, and, you know, we do the audit meeting and then we do the board meeting. And so what we're looking at is and we come down here Wednesday, Thursday, and as Chancellor said, it's a noon to noon kind of time frame. And so you'll see probably at our next meeting, we're looking at it, but we'll probably do the audit meeting the day before. And then and this gives us more time, and we're not getting into y'all's lunch hour and all that. So look for a change in the future. We're exploring options there, but we'll try to utilize the time a little better for that. And with that, the closed meet, I'm sorry. And with that, we will reconvene the open meeting. Let's see.
No.
Closed. I'm sorry.
We're going to close meeting.
The public view will retire now. Yes. 12:37, and we'll come back when we're done. Beautiful. Thank you.
Do we need to take any of our material or?
well, wait.
Wait.
We use,
You really, so I make her go to, I hear great things.
very, very intelligent.
Oh, good, I want to talk to you.
There we go, yeah.
It's an excellent
Totally.
All right, the open meeting of the TSTC Board of Regents reconvenes at 2:13 PM. We'll now consider the consent agenda. At this time, any regent can request that an item or items be removed from the consent agenda so that it can be considered by the board as a separate action item. Regents, are there any such amendments to the consent agenda? So, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve all the items contained in the consent agenda as presented.
I'll
Rob?
move, so move.
Second.
Tiffany? Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries. Is there any further discussion on items covered during the closed session today?
Yes, I move that the board approve minute orders CS 02-26, CS 03-26, and CS 04-26, as discussed in closed session.
Thank you, Regent Cleveland. We're considering 0226, 0326, 0426. Can I get a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kathy. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business? Thank you. How about new business? Is there any new business? No new business. Chancellor, do you have any comments?
I do indeed. I would like to introduce you to two of my fellow executives here at TSTC. We have Joyce Gorgon, please stand, Joyce, and Dr. Christine Stewart Carruthers. These are the two seasoned executives we talked about a while ago under the Personnel tab, who are responsible for the 10% growth we saw in the summer enrollment this year. Yeah. And the ones who are keeping our arc going for the fall. So I have the utmost confidence in them, and I hope you will join me in that too. So.
Thank you, Chancellor. Thank you all. Is that why you're here? All right. You know, our next Board of Regents meeting we talked about is August 26th and 27th in Waco. We have that at the Waco campus. To be more details on that later. And as I mentioned, I said earlier, we'll finish by 2 today, but well, we didn't quite hit that, but we'll change the schedule around, look, and we'll talk about that later. Regents, do you have any final comments before we adjourn?
You know, I would like to thank the regents as well as the staff for the warm welcome that I've received and making me feel at home. So thank you very much.
Very good. Welcome aboard. Mr. Beckman over there on the big screen.
Now, I just want to thank Curtis for stepping in for me. I really appreciate you guys bearing with me on virtual day. So I had some teeth surgery, so the doctor didn't want me to travel. So thank you guys for bearing with me.
Thank you, Mr. Beckman. Well, again, thanks to the whole staff here at the campus. What a great place. Good meeting, got a lot done, got a lot of good things going on here, and that always makes it fun. So thank you all. And with that being no further business, the meeting of the TSTC Board of Regents is adjourned at 2:17.